Am I the asshole for wanting my daughter's boyfriend, soon-to-be fiancé, to know her dark secret before marriage? Okay. I'm the dad of a 25-year-old young woman who I love very much. I've been able to have a good relationship with my daughter, and I enjoy my time with her. But there's one thing about her that many people pause. Hang on. There's one thing. Brian, shut up. There's one thing about her that will give many people pause. She is a diagnosed sociopath. She exhibited odd, disturbing behavior at a young age, and after a serious incident of abuse towards her younger sister, I realized she needed professional help. Throughout her elementary years, she struggled heavily, getting into lots of trouble in school for lying, cruelty, and other types of misbehaviors. With an enormous amount of therapy and support, her bad behavior was minimized as she grew older. She received an ASPD diagnosis, and at 18, and I had suspected it long prior. After her aggressive behavior was tamed, her following years were much more fruitful. She was law-abiding, had a decent job, and a good education, and many good friendships and admirers, especially male admirers. She is very, very charming and adept at attracting guys and maintaining their interests. She uses that old dating guide, The Rules, like a Bible. She currently has a boyfriend of about a year and a half who's crazy about her and who I have a very strong relationship with. We live in the same area and spend some time together regularly. He's a great guy, very kind, funny, and intelligent. But I doubt she loves him. We've had some very honest, in-depth discussions about her mental health since her diagnosis, and she has been open with me that she doesn't feel love or empathy towards anyone, even family. When she acted very sad and broke up over the death of one of her closest friends at the funeral, she confessed to me privately that it was all put on, and then she felt pretty neutral about the whole thing. She has also stated that she never once felt guilty about anything she's ever done, and doesn't know what guilt feels like. While she enjoys being around her boyfriend and is sexually attracted to him, I highly doubt she feels much of anything towards him love-wise. Her boyfriend, who might propose soon, has no idea about her diagnosis, and she's been very upfront with me that she has no plans to ever tell him, thinking it'll scare him away. I've made it clear to her that she needs to tell him the truth before they marry, that he has the right to know and consider it. Or I will. To which she responds, I know you wouldn't dare. I actually would. I really like and respect this young man, and would feel awful keeping this secret from him, and letting him walk into a marriage without this piece of knowledge. I'm not trying to sabotage my daughter's future. Maybe her boyfriend's love of her personality and other aspects is enough that it won't end the relationship. It's his decision to make, but he deserves all the facts. Someday he's bound to find out that she's a bit off. It can't be kept a secret forever. Am I the asshole?
No,
Wow.
absolutely
This
not.
sounds like the beginning of a terrible Lifetime movie.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I want to see this movie.
I feel like there's a bit of a disconnect here. That he says she feels nothing. Okay, fair enough. But then proceeds to say that she would be very upset if this guy were to leave. Like, so I'm a little confused about that. Like, if she feels nothing, but really wants to be with this guy, it seems to me there's a little bit of a disconnect there. However, I agree with that dude deserves to know.
Yeah.
See,
Well,
I disagree.
Why
Yeah.
do you disagree?
I disagree in retrospect that if she wants to tell him, then it is entirely her responsibility. I don't feel like unless if he's in immediate danger, which by the sounds of it, he's not. It's just the way that she is wired emotionally, which, judging by that alone, I feel that it's down to her if she wants to tell him or not, and that her dad, even though he might want to, should set a boundary and respect his daughter's wishes. And if she doesn't want to tell him, then I think he should take a back seat on it and maybe try and convince her why it's a good idea. But if she's just not having it, then he should just take a step back and just let it play its course. And she will learn that lesson. She's 25, she's not 15. If she was 15, then yeah, it might be a different thing, maybe. But I feel like this is a life lesson that she has to make by going through the process of being open about whether or not she wants to share that with her partner or not.
Right, but this guy is signing up for a lifetime. That's the whole purpose of this.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
no,
can't
no, but
teach her a
he
life
knows this.
lesson.
The thing is, though, is he hasn't proposed yet. He thinks that he's going to. There's no guarantee that this is lifelong yet. This is just a year-long relationship
Right,
where
but I
it's
mean,
going
wouldn't that
pretty
be
strong.
something wouldn't you want to know the potential physical, I'll kind of flip it and say, like, if your spouse, maybe this is actually harder, has a family history of, say, Huntington's disease, which is a genetic disorder
Yeah.
that if you have a parent, you have a 50% chance of contracting it as well.
Yeah.
Is that something that you as a spouse deserve to know before entering into a lifetime
Well,
relationship with
Take-
them?
Before having kids,
take it- take it a step further. If you know that somebody has a sexually transmittable disease, you're well aware of it, and this person has not disclosed it to somebody they're about to be sexually active with, do you think that you don't have a responsibility if that person said, no, I'm not going to tell them, I want to smash?
Yeah,
To
but that
say no, well, no, this person has a disease that will more than likely make this person's life difficult down the road because you're
Yeah, but
not disclosing it to them.
there's no guarantee of that of her mindset affecting this guy. Like
There
like you
isn't, but
that,
he
like you
can't-
said with this with the sexually transmitted stuff, that would affect your partner physically, but
but
whereas
he still
her
can't give
condition
consent.
wouldn't.
He doesn't have all the information, and this is a big thing now where like we look at consent in terms of like the Me Too movement only on the female side of things a lot of the time, because obviously I mean, majority of cases that are out there are where the female has been victimized, but the issues around consent, and he cannot give informed consent to be in a relationship with her even temporarily, let alone sign a piece of paper if he doesn't know about something that is a pretty serious mental condition. Because as somebody said in chat, like, sociopaths, they don't feel empathy, they don't feel love, but they sure as hell get angry. They absolutely feel anger. And that anger isn't tempered by love or affection for another person. So I completely disagree on this one. I think for the first time we've had a Am I the Asshole, where the guy is the asshole if he doesn't tell the future son-in-law.
But on the same line of that discussion, like they've been together for a year, and this guy hasn't been able to tell that she's well, at least in this version of the story, the guy doesn't suspect a thing, which tells me that her counseling and her medication is helping to an extent of where she can or at least appear to be functioning normally. So if
But-
he's attracted to her in a relationship and she's attracted to him, and that there's no immediate danger, I feel like he should just stay away and just let them get on with it. If it finds out and it comes out, it comes out.
So that's the issue, though. So with sociopaths, it's following a set of rules. It's like Dexter, right? It's you've got this set of rules, this script to follow in your head. All that it is a performance, and that's not to denigrate anybody who has issues with sociopathy, sociopathic disorders, whatever. But it is still a very serious thing, and he could have just gotten lucky up until this point. Wait until their first very, very serious fight if they haven't had one up until now. I would be very scared to see somebody that unhinged where feelings of love, empathy, whatever can't anchor her
So
at all from her action.
I know Ryan wants to say something before you do, Ryan. So on that same line of thought, like I'm not saying that you're implying this, but it sounds like the level that we're going at, if that he should be the one to make it should be his responsibility if she's not going to disclose it on that level, then you're kind of saying that all sociopaths need to be policed in society, because if they're not going to disclose something, somebody has to. because it's just the right thing to do. And that's kind of why I disagreed with it, because I feel like, yeah, they might be miswired, but as long as there's no immediate danger, they're still an individual. They're still allowed to be a member of, they're still allowed to be human and make their own decisions. And that's kind of my point there. It wasn't like the danger or necessarily like the whole element of what he's going through or what they're both going to go through. It was just a case of the fact that she is still an individual, and we are kind of sitting here on a pedestal saying that she's not allowed to make her decision based off the way that she is as an individual. And that's kind of my point.
I definitely didn't say that people who are sociopaths should be policed in society, nor did I suggest it. But I would say that there is a modicum of personal integrity, I think, that comes into play here.
We need to let Ryan go here.
I know the daughter's not going to show it. I know, but I do want to say that on a recorded stream, when somebody says that I'm saying sociopaths should be policed, I should probably say that's not at all what I'm saying. Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, I mean, sociopaths can hide their condition for a lifetime.
Mhm.
Like, as he pointed out earlier, like everything they do when it comes to demonstrating emotions it's an act. It's a performance. It's what they perceive to be. This is how I pass as normal. This is
So I'm caught in between the two, because on one hand, obviously I agree with Geek Dad that I don't think they should be policed or anything, and I agree with Mike where it's just like, it's one of those things where you don't want to minority report, like precog the situation and be like, well, this person has the potential to fuck up, so we're gonna make a situation where they can't fuck up. So that's kind of on that situation. So do I think they should be legally obligated to tell them? Absolutely not. But should they be morally obligated, ethically obligated? I think so. And then you have to ask yourself, does a sociopath have the ability to make that moral or ethical choice to tell someone that?
No, they don't.
So like that's the tricky part of this specific situation.
Yeah,
I 100% believe that the father should say something. I mean, if they're on good terms and the relationship's all sweet, and he's absolutely head over heels with her, it's not going to matter.
I agree. I agree with all this, but I'm going to throw in a wrench here that she obviously has wants and hopes here, right? Like she wants to be with this guy. She hopes she's going to be with this guy. So she's having a negative outcome to the idea of like, look, if you tell this to this guy, he's going to leave me, and I don't want that. So there's obviously something here for her. I'm not a sociopath, so I can't tell you what it's like to be one. But I do tend to think that if you're going to enter into a long-term relationship with somebody, it's okay to know and warranted to know the potential health outcomes of that individual. Like I said, going back to my Huntington's example earlier, like if I knew that my wife was going to have Huntington's, I have the right to know that, okay, when she's 50 or 60, I have an obligation to do something, and I have a right to walk away from that before the lifelong commitment gets set in. And I feel like the sociopathy part of that is equivalent as well. But I also sympathize with the woman who's saying, like, she obviously wants this.
Mm-hmm.
We empathize for her because she can't.
Oh, God, you're clever.
Deep.
God damn. You know what? That's a line from freaking New Amsterdam.
Yes, that episode. I've been thinking about that episode since you started talking about this.
That's what the counselor says to the nurse when he gets the kid that's the
and that was a hell of an episode. Little girl who has sociopathic and the parents.
Oh my God, it was heart-wrenching.
If you haven't watched it, watch that episode. But it goes to show you, and I understand what Mike is saying, and I mean, you do have to take some sympathy into account for this woman because she can't for herself.
Yeah.
But I mean, ultimately, there is I think Ryan, either you or Sam said the moral question here. It's not about legal. Obviously, she can choose to say or not say anything, but there is a moral responsibility that if you fake love this person, if you want to be in love with this, if you want to have this person as a relationship, then I mean, give them the chance to accept you.
That's interesting though. Like, if they can't feel love, maybe they want to experience love, but obviously they can't.
Yeah.
This is the next best
Fascinating.
thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, oh man, this is a rabbit hole, isn't it? Wow. Oh.
I can see why this was one of the biggest controversial
Yes.
things, just because this is definitely stumped. Because when you sort of you hitch onto what you believe could be like a correct answer in your own view, but then there's another part to it that will trip you up
Yeah.
on the view in your own opinion. So it's definitely because I look do I agree that like he has a right to know, yes, but do I think that it should be coming from the dad? No, I think it's the dad's responsibility to educate her, but I don't think it's his responsibility to step in and tell him on her behalf, because I think that's just disrespecting boundaries, and it's kind of but there's counter arguments for and against all of every little
Yeah.
part of the sentence that I just said. There's counter arguments for and against, so it's
But I mean, that's the beauty of this. I mean, there is no right and wrong. It's all hypothetical, really.
I think we agree the best situation is if the daughter told him. Like that would be the hope. Yeah.
100%.
But my take was that he shouldn't step in and say it ever. It should be him educating his daughter as to why she should tell him. But yeah, anyway, I think we understand where we all stand on the point.
Oh, is Dom frozen?
No, I'm just listening. I'm just listening. I was waiting for PK to come back. No, thank you, gentlemen. No, thank you very much for all.
Oh man, I lost BK again.
Yeah, he's disappeared again.
Oh no.
Thank you, gentlemen, for having your input on that subject matter, and appreciate you all being very professional and well mannered, because it is a very, very controversial. Like, it's for people, it has different value sets, and they both sit on the extreme sides of our emotional values. So
I know we just hit 7:30.